All right, hello, welcome back. So again, I'm Kevin McCain with Kevin McCain Studios. That's my fine arts part of my business, and of course, Idaho art classes. And that's the other part where I teach locally, classic drawing and painting and all this good stuff. What I want to talk to you about today is positive reinforcement. It is so important to find ways to reinforce and to, again, to build yourself up, build that momentum that'll keep you going and keep you creating, keep you, doing more drawing and painting to help you to improve and get better. And who doesn't want that? So I think there's several good things. Some people, it's just, they'll wake up in the morning and, that whole thing where they'll look in the mirror and they'll tell themselves, hey, you're doing good, you're doing great, hang in there, you're learning, you're getting more knowledge, it's showing in your work, you're improving. And of course, some people do that, and that can be very effective. For other people, they're just like, oh, whatever. Well, there's other things that people can do. It's not just, sitting in a mirror, talking to yourself. Sometimes, I know some people are like, oh, well, forget that. That's nonsense. But there are other ways that people do it, and that I think are very effective. For some people, they like the meditation. So, I've been told, so I can't, I haven't verified this, but I've been told by people that have some knowledge and all that good stuff, that many times the Japanese artists, from 100 years ago or 200 years ago, 300 years ago, that there was maybe even further than that, but there was a time period where they would just meditate. They would meditate and clarify their thoughts, and then they would, and some of the times this would go on for years before they even picked up a brush or grabbed a drawing utensil, to do their painting. It's almost like building in your mind this creative path that you're going to follow. That's great. Now, mostly I would say for most people, I would be like, I don't know that I'm going to meditate for 5 years before I pick up a pencil or pick up a brush. But the idea of, every so often doing a little mindful meditation, either to clear your mind or to focus on your creativity, to focus on your goals. Who's to say that's a bad idea? I think that's a great idea. There's other people that really get into reinforcing things by doing the tapping and stuff. And there are some guided tapping sessions where they tap for creativity. And again, for some people, it's very, very effective. And I'm sure that there's other, things that people do out there. But, you want to find something that's going to give you that positive sort of feedback, that positive reinforcement and self-talk, or how you feel about it, how you're thinking about it, how you're processing it. That's a big part of it. And the better you can get your mind focused on what you want to do, the better off you're going to be, I would think. And it certainly, has, helped me in terms of over the years, and other artists I know, that it's really important to, remind yourself, that, you're doing the things that are correct, you're doing what's right, to learn, to grow, to improve. And that's really important because, again, there's going to be times where discouragement will come, life will happen, and you have to try to get back on track and try to refocus. And that's a part of it. And these are just steps to mastery. That's how you master stuff, by, sticking at it, staying motivated, and continuing to do it. And so, yeah, why not? Now, since I'm talking about self-talk a little bit, the other downside you have to be careful of is the negative self-talk. You don't want any of that, because that you can convince yourself of anything. There's sort of this positive, negative side of this sort of stuff, but it's not even just negative self-talk. There's times when, because if you're drawing for long periods, especially if you start getting frustrated sometimes, you'll try to overcome it with self-talk. Oh, you're doing good. You're working it. This is gonna be mind-boggling. I'm gonna, and you got this. You're trying to, getting a little bit of excitement, but you're kind of getting, you're losing perhaps a little bit of your focus, and maybe being a little delusional. Usually what happened to me when I was trying to do deadlines for illustration work at 3 a.m, and then that was the worst time, because that's when that stuff would start, where you trying to convince yourself that a mediocre image is coming together when it really wasn't. And so usually in the morning you'd have to go ahead and fix all the mistakes that you were swearing were the things that really worked about it. But So you also want to make sure that you don't get to that point where you're like flailing about mentally, and you're trying to convince yourself of something that's not happening. If that's the case, what the best way to resolve that is to walk away, go and do something. Whether it's something in the studio, like stretching canvas or prepping paper, or just some sort of menial task to let your brain sort of relax, reset. And then when you come back and sit down, well, you've got a fresh eye. And that's always good stuff. Never a bad idea as far as that goes. The other thing is, the other side is that's also just as bad, and in some cases worse, is this idea that, everyone wants to be better, and we all want to be better. And that's just a part of life, That's a part of having a passion and really wanting something and wanting to do well at it. And that's great. And we all hopefully should look for something like that in our lives. We just don't want to, talk yourself out of something when you really were doing well, but you're feeling frustrated, and so you get that negative self-talk. This is terrible. Why did I do this? I could have had so much fun if I wasn't taking all this time with all this stuff. What's going on here? Whose idea was this anyways? Or whatever, or any other sort of resentment or negative talk or whatever. You want to try to push that aside whenever that comes into your mind. It's really not good for you. It's probably not good for your health either. We don't want to get this too fluffy or something, some sort of new agey idea. But it's you want to try to minimize that whenever possible. And again, you can use techniques like meditation. You can use techniques like tapping. You can use this whole idea of getting out of the studio and going doing something productive and then coming back, or whatever you got to do to reset. And to push that negativity aside, that's just as important as anything else. So anyways, I hope you guys will take some of this to heart, and that you will always remember, to stay focused on the goal, to try to keep, to stay positive, and to not let too much negativity come into your life. And by whatever means you have to do that, then do it. And, I will hope that you would stay creative and keep painting and drawing, and also that you have a great day. Thank you so much now. Bye-bye.